повномасштабного вторгнення Росії в Україну Віктор Гетьманчук, предсідник добродійної установи KONTAKT Ukr Foundation, провів прес-конференцію про передачу гуманітарної допомоги в Україну в сумі $26 мільйонів.
Throughout the first 27 years of its operations, CUF developed very close and effective relationships with partners both in Canada and in Ukraine. These long-standing partnerships allowed for a quick response by CUF to the humanitarian crisis that happened because of Russia's second invasion of Ukraine on February 24, 2022. Through our partners such as AICM, Global Medic, MIST, HelpAge Canada, and others, we were providing humanitarian assistance to Ukrainians affected by the war within 4 days of Russia's unprovoked attack.
I'd like to give you the context of what the situation is like right now in Ukraine for 2023. I'm quoting from the Humanitarian Response Plan. Under food security, there are 11.1 million people in need, and the plan is to target 5.4 million people for food security. For health, we have 14.6 million people in need, and we're going to be targeting 7.8 million of that. And under WASH, which is water sanitation, it's 11 million, and the number is targeted at 7.6. I'd like to report that we, this year in 2022, received $22 million from 72,000 individual donors, corporations, and provincial governments. This is a number that we never thought we'd ever achieve, but through the generosity of the donors, we can do certain programs, which is what I'm going to talk to you about. We have already spent $26 million of these 52. The biggest amount of money that we've spent this year so far is about $12 million on food security. In medicines, we have contributed 53,000 kilograms of purchases of medicines. We buy from the WHO stockpile in the Netherlands. We truck it into Ukraine, and through our partner AICM, we've been able to reach 790,000 patients. These patients are ones that are in hospitals, and they're also in outpatients departments. We track every drug that is over $20 with a QR code. There's a lot of war profiteering going on, and that's something we have to watch, is make sure that the product really gets to the people and the shysters don't overcharge people for medicines, which is supposed to be free. We have just also delivered 11 ambulances to the Ministry of Health in Ukraine, and they will be sent to 8 different oblasts in Ukraine. We've also been requested by the Ukrainian embassy to provide them with demining robots, and we've been able to successfully move in 3 robots. We're just starting our demining program. There's 160,000 square kilometers of mine fields in Ukraine, so we have to slowly start to understand what the issue is and provide more of these robots. We've also purchased 1,000 sets of firefighting gear for the firemen that are fighting the fires every day. One of the key strategies of Russia is to try to destroy the school system and take away the children. The Russians today are exporting children into their camps, into their Komsomolny camps, to make sure they brainwash them. We have to stop that. So one of our programs will be to get the school system back and running at the start at the primary school system. We're looking for partners in Ukraine to do that.
As you have heard, the Ukraine Humanitarian Appeal was launched in January in anticipation of a full-scale invasion by Russia. The UCC and CUF had partnered together in the past, and it made sense for us to do so again. But at the same time, we were hoping against hope that we would never have to access these funds. However, on the evening of February 23rd, the Board of Directors of the Ukrainian-Canadian Congress had just completed a Zoom meeting with the Prime Minister, the Deputy Prime Minister, and a number of cabinet ministers. We were being briefed on the situation in Ukraine. A few minutes after our meeting ended, our phones lit up. The bombing had started in Kyiv. And fortunately, we were ready to jump into action. Our branches in 40 locations across Canada are also working hard to support the settlement of Ukrainians who have come to Canada now again as displaced persons. The Humanitarian Appeal is also supporting these efforts. Before the war, the full-scale invasion started, we had already begun discussions with the federal government about providing shelter to Ukrainians who would be fleeing the war and discussing the supports that would be necessary for them when they came here. Because Ukrainians are not considered convention refugees, we had to create a special program because the existing refugee programs do not apply to Ukrainians. We created the Canada-Ukraine Authorization for Emergency Travel. But we needed more than just a visitor's visa and a work permit attached to it. So we had to negotiate for temporary and limited financial support, shelter, and make sure that Ukrainians would qualify for health care, childcare, and have access to schooling for their children. Our community has filled in the gaps that the government has not been able to. We have staffed welcome stations in major airports, collected clothing, assisted with housing, job searches, language lessons, spiritual and psychological support, summer camps for children. The list is endless. To date, Canada has welcomed over 160,000 Ukrainians who have settled in all provinces across Canada. But the need for sustained support is enormous. We don't know when the war will end, and we need to ensure that we can continue to support the Ukrainian people in Ukraine and here in Canada, and as we look forward to supporting reconstruction and rehabilitation after Ukraine's victory.
Right now, 18 million people in Ukraine are in need of humanitarian assistance. That is an incredibly high number. 16 million have been displaced by the war. 1 in 3 do not know where their next meal are coming from. That is an incredible number. Attacks on civilian infrastructure mean that families, women, children, do not have electricity. They can't stay warm. They don't have access to clean drinking water. This is a nightmare. This war is very ugly, and it hurts the most vulnerable. Over 7 million Ukrainians have crossed a border and become a refugee. Now, with the support of the Canada-Ukraine Foundation, we've been providing food aid. We've been providing family emergency kits where we get support into folks that ensure that they have clean drinking water. Now imagine you live in Kherson and the Russians overtook your positions and took over your villages, but you stayed, you and your family stayed. Well, the attacks on your infrastructure mean you have no electricity and you have no clean drinking water, and you are living in an occupied zone under God knows what terror. The Ukrainian army is able to take back those areas, and your family is still there. Well, now you are living under freedom, but you still don't have power and you still don't have clean drinking water. So for us to be able to come in and give a simple solution that helps save those lives, and then to be able to add things like soap or other hygiene items, that's a life difference maker. That's a lifesaver in Ukraine to these families. And by decentralizing operations and reaching into and across the country, we're able to put money into different parts of the economy. So for example, in Mykolaiv, we are buying canned meat that goes into the hampers from the local Mykolaiv producers. In Lutsk, up towards the border with Belarus, women who are displaced from the east are actually getting jobs to produce and distribute these kits. So far to date, we've reached 275,576 beneficiaries. In the programs we're currently running, by the end of April, we'll reach another 240,000. It's over 500,000 people that we're going to reach that are in dire need of humanitarian assistance, and we couldn't do that without partnering together.
It wouldn't be possible without the generosity of Canadian people. And I would really like to thank you, each and everybody, because every donation, whether it's small or big, makes a big difference for the 40 million Ukrainian country. As our priority for today and for the next year, it will be to support the people to find a new home, to build a new home. And here we will also count on the support of Canadian Ukrainian Foundation for helping us.